So this is the whole Hearthstone drama with Blizzard. Initially, banning this character or this player for a year.
I'm sorry, that's very disrespectful, but that's literally all I read when I see his name.
I mean, he's just a few characters off from that, but it's Blitzchung.
Blitzchung.
So they were initially banning him for his response or being vocal about this protest in Hong Kong, and they've kind of walked back their feelings on it. But it's a lot to unpack.
Did you include their Chinese version of their tweet?
No, they have a response, Blizzard, but I don't have the actual Chinese version of the tweet itself.
Because there's a Chinese version of that response, and it's the exact opposite of the American version of that response.
That would seem in line with what's going on.
Yep.
Interesting. So I pulled up a lot of these are from PC Gamer, Andy Chalk. So check him out over at PC Gamer. Hearthstone. Yes. Are you gonna fuck his name up too, Gavin?
I was trying to give him a cool nickname of A-Chalk, but to be fair, that's not a cool nickname.
No, it's not. I'm not trusting you with my nicknames. So he writes...
You come prepackaged with a nickname. Fonzie is not your name.
That's true.
You already got a cool one.
So I keep the haters off me. I give them a fake name.
Exactly.
So
Haterade.
Now, Hearthstone Grandmaster called for the liberation of Hong Kong in deleted post-match interview. This is the first... news story. This was last week, actually. It's like Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, we missed this one by a solid day. So we are the last ones reporting this.
That's true. Although it's been developing all the way up until I think over the weekend, right? So
it has.
So Hearthstone Pro Chung Blitzchung Ng Wai. So I'm going to pronounce the name the right way. So it's Ng Wai Chung. His tagline is Blitzchung. Caused a stir over the weekend when during a post-match interview on the official Asia-Pacific Hearthstone Grandmasters livestream, he called for Hong Kong's freedom from China. Blitzchung appeared on the stream wearing a gas mask and goggles, similar to the mask worn by protesters in Hong Kong, and possibly intended as a symbolic defiance of the new law banning the use of face masks. And then, as reported by Invin Global, removed the mask and shouted, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our age." And the actual, so the stream that it was on, that video's been deleted, but it exists now online.
Did they mention this? Because I know the shoutcasters that were there also got banned.
Yes.
Did they say what were they doing during this? I really don't understand why they were banned as well.
Right. I have the actual. I can pull this up real quick. So I think it's because they're kind of caught in the middle of it. He makes that announcement during that stream, and they kind of react. They applaud.
Oh, okay.
In a weird way, and so
that's why people.
Yeah, and so because they participated. Yeah. So I'm gonna Google that if I can.
And sorry to our 5 viewers for my sniffing.
Are you feeling under the weather, Gavin?
I don't possess the proper ability to blow my nose.
Really?
So like I'm just fucking stuck with it when it's a little stuffy. It's like I can't build up enough pressure to do it, so like I'm just like inhaling stupidly through my nose trying to get something out. Nothing comes out. So I've never actually seen the clip.
Yeah, so here's the actual clip. So he's wearing a gas mask. He takes it off.
Looks like a character out of Borderlands.
And he's being interviewed by those guys. And now they cut to the actual like commercial. So I think they bow their heads because they already see that he has this get up, which is already going towards this controversial statement. So I think that's why they bow their heads, because they're trying to get out of the and not be connected to it, but then they react to it after this.
Are they bowing their heads, or are they trying to get out of the shot so they're not associated with it?
Yeah, by bowing their heads, I meant exactly that. They're just trying to get out of the shot. But now it continues.
How was that guy?
And they clap, and because they kind of have to say something, so it's in support.
So they're playing it off cool, like they might. I mean, maybe I can't speak Chinese. I assume they're Chinese.
I think it was a Chinese stream. Yes, I'm gonna say yes.
That would make the most sense. Either that, or I'm terribly racist.
I'm gonna go with racist. But yeah, so the shoutcasters, react to it. It was a unplanned, statement, so they just kind of had to react to it, and they also
you got to roll with the show. Must go on. You got to roll with the punches.
It's a very much if you remember Kanye West going on whatever show he went on.
Is this the hill we want to die on with comparing Kanye to this?
He's kind of a leader and just a futuristic. Just as far as like the unplanned liveness, and then the person next to you has to react to it.
Right.
But now, so there's
fuck the Oscars. I can't do that. I can't remember what his accent was.
I forget. Yeah, the guy from No Way Out or A Way Out.
Yeah.
So there's
that was such a fun show though. Like I remember when that happened, we're like, yeah. We're like, I'm not that into it, but yeah.
Even Jeff Keighley's like, oh, we can't do that. But he's like, oh, but that's all right. Like he's like just back and forth.
I mean, they were like, the way they were like, you know, upstanding with that's probably the wrong phrase, but with Konami after they kind of shit on
that was
Kojima. So like, if Keighley was to stop being punk rock right then, everyone would be like, the fuck is this shit?
And his punk rock is like white bread, but he's still on the edge of, you know, he's still doing and kind of pointing towards issues that are trying to get swept on the rug with Konami, with Kojima.
We like say it's like punk rock is white bread, but like, have you ever seen him like interview somebody? I fucking hate it.
Really?
He will push for his like to try and make you slip. Like I remember seeing him go against Reggie Fils-Aimé, and it's like a fight where he's just like, oh, can you like, you know, Pikmin 3 on the Switch? Like, can you confirm that? He's like, I've told you I can't confirm or deny. Like I can say this all day long, motherfucker.
They're just trying to, you know, pull on the strings.
He's trying to like pull the strings, twist the knobs.
That's awesome. No, I love Jeff Keighley. He's awesome. But because he also has to toe this line of he is a you know, just this well-known person in the industry. He has to be accessible to everyone, but also he's definitely giving, you know, points of view for sure,
right?
As much as you can in that position.
He's definitely, as far as this industry goes, he's earned back so much respect, especially when you remember like that low point of fucking. What was it? Doritos and Mountain Dew, where everyone's just like, look at this tool. Is that hitting? You don't wishing that was colder?
It was just the fumes, so I inhaled like rubbing alcohol fumes or.
Can I have a sip of this?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know.
I think if you don't manage these, if you don't manage the fumes that you also ingest when you take a sip.
Is this so? We were talking about as we were right before we watched Joker. Like I haven't tasted anything that's burned in a while. Is this gonna just torch my
I feel alive
throat?
though, so I'm ready to go. Let's do push-ups and wrestle, Gavin. I'm ready to go. Yeah, so this is a whiskey. This is Buffalo Trace whiskey. So this isn't the Bellberg.
That's good. I do wish it were colder.
So initially, I think it was. I had these whiskey stones, kidney stones in there, but they warmed up.
You know what that needs? So some family tradition we do, we haven't done in a while, is we drink really nice whiskey and smoke cigars around a fire.
Oh.
And that's what that fucking deserves.
Yeah. It's just like smoke on smoke. Do you also eat barbecue and like what else kind of smoky?
It's about all you can do. But it's like, as far as like traditional like masculine things, I think that's pretty fucking cool. Like sitting around.
You got to throw grilling in there for sure. Mowing the lawn. Checking the thermostat, but yeah.
I did used to. I think I told you I used to smoke a cigar when I'd mow the lawn.
Really?
every week, because it was like I grew up with my Uncle Dan living across the road, and that's just he'd smoke. Now to be fair, he'd smoke a really nice cigar, which will last you like an hour and a half, and that's how long it took him to mow his lawn. Okay. So I'd be smoking a cheap ass cigar, and it'd take me about an hour to mow the lawn. Now the problem is, occasionally you can get a bad cigar. And I got a bad cigar and fucking threw up everywhere. And after that point, I was like, nope, I'm good.
I think the only time I've smoked a cigar was at your house years ago. Like you had them for some reason. We're in your backyard. And like Andy and I want to say maybe Riley was there too.
But, that definitely happened. Yeah, I
remember not liking it at all. And I've never attempted ever since then. But I like cigarettes and stuff like that. So maybe I can go back to it years later. But
they're definitely different. I think the other thing too, like the thing that always sucks about cigars is once you're done smoking it, it's not done with you. You're gonna smell like that until you take like 3 showers.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood for that.
And it's that it taints the flavor of everything. It's like they're kind of like the Malort of the smoking world.
Malort?
It's a Chicago wormwood based liquor. I'm not sure which one.
Gotcha.
And it tastes like the water at the bottom of a garbage truck.
Gotcha.
It is the worst thing that has ever been made, but Chicagoans will die on the cross for that thing right there. That is the.
I got to try this, Kevin. That's the commercial.
You know what? Next time Joe comes back, he'll. Typically, whenever he comes back to Washington, he brings like 6 bottles.
Okay.
And just tries to get everyone to drink it because it's like the running joke of Chicago. It's just like, oh, you got to try Malort. It's like a tradition. And you're like cheering them on, and they try it, and you see their face go, the fuck did you just make me drink? And it's like, the fun part is you're not done yet because that flavor won't go away.
Oh, God.
It's going to taint everything you drink or eat for the next like 20 minutes.
Why would you do that to your friends?
I think it's just a running joke is my theory.
That only Chicagoans know? Okay.
Yeah. Well, until you know, then you're in on the joke. And then when somebody says, hey, you haven't been here, you haven't tried Malort, let's go try Malort. And you're like, all right, well, now I'm on this side of it.
Yeah.
So I'll drink it alongside with you, but... Yeah.
Just tell me, hey, go fuck yourself. I'm not trying that.
Right. Anyway, back to the serious subject.
I'm sure there's a TLDR, but I don't think it warrants a TLDR for this kind of thing because it's pretty complicated and
we could probably TLDR it a little bit. I mean, it's so he was originally banned.
Yeah. So I want to say he was facing a 2-year ban. And his winnings for that tournament.
Did they even say 2 years, or did they just say banned?
It was
because I thought it was permanent, and I thought the casters were permanent as well.
I see, gotcha.
Maybe I'm wrong though.
Well, I have this is a tweet from Blizzard's account. This is referencing that initial the whole reaction to that statement on the live stream. So this is from Blizzard.
We're jumping straight to that.
No, well, this is that right when he makes that comment. This is their response of what the repercussions were going to be. So you mentioned like how what that ban was going to be.
So this is not the president of Blizzard yet.
No, this is just them announcing that it's going to be that. Really, they're going off of exactly what he did and how they're going to deal with Blitzchung's Chung's.
You pronounced it Chug that time. I got it in your head.
So this is from Blizzard. Upon further review, we have found the action has violated the 2019 Hearthstone Grandmasters official competition rules, section 6.1. Engaging in any act that, in Blizzard's sole discretion, brings you into public disrepute, offends a portion or group of the public, or otherwise damages Blizzard's image, will result in removal from Grandmasters and reduction of the player's price total to $0. In addition, the other remedies which may be provided for under the handbook and Blizzard's website terms. There was 2 years is what he was facing initially. I do remember that.
And people love to point out right now, which is a bit trolly, but still, that this has damaged their reputation so much, which is a condition on this. Who gets fired for this one? Which again, I'm not really for that. I really hate like the idea of like something's bad or something was wrong. Like let's fire people, like because people will do that for literally anything.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would argue that maybe no one gets fired because they're the whole reason to.
No, they won't. That's just the joke going around.
Gotcha. Especially with this situation because it's really the pressure from how China views them is why they were so aggressive with punishing him in the first place. Right. But that was the only balance they had to do is like they have to do some kind of response. So they're this. So the Chinese government will just kind of view them favorably so they can keep doing business there.
And the other thing to point out here too is, so one of the big things China can do is they can just ban the Blizzard games altogether. And the reason that's extra tricky is there's fucking clones in China all ready to go. Right. They look exactly like Overwatch. Like they're ready to go. The second Blizzard is banned, China can let these publishers bring their games back.
Gotcha.
Because I want to say like Chinese government was fighting these clone games. Because Blizzard was coming in, they were cool with Blizzard. Okay. So if they get rid of Blizzard, they're like, nah, throw the clones back up. Right. We're good.
Well, the whole clone thing with it's rampant and like just brand names and any kind of entity, it's being copied in China, and that's a huge issue with copyright.
Yeah.
But so he faces Blizzard responds with this 1 year. Apparently, it was a 1 year ban. Sorry about that. 1 year ban from Hearthstone, and then he wasn't able to earn those funds from that Hearthstone tournament, which he had won. So now that was on Monday, and now no response from Blizzard until Friday.
Right.
So what was weird about the response was it was a press release at 5:30 p.m. on Friday, and the whole a journalistic critique is that they wanted this to be as buried as they could by releasing it on Friday when everyone's leaving for work to not write articles about this to some degree.
Yep, that worked.
Yeah, and rather than have some kind of conversation or like live stream, like they really just want to try and distance themselves away from this as much as they can. Right. So now they backtracked, and here's their actual Andy Chalk from PC Gamer as well kind of breaks down their
And this
response.
was a few days before they backtracked.
So this is a full-blown week before they say anything. But this is their actual response. So after a tumultuous week that saw widespread fan outrage, a call for boycotts, and 2 high-profile personalities withdraw from future events, Blizzard president J. Allen
Who are the
Brack.
high-profile personalities?
So there was two shoutcasters or commenters that.
Are they the ones they banned?
No, these are two. These are two other ones. So this was Hearthstone caster Nathan. That's Admirable Zamora steps down over Blitzchung.
Fuck that is.
Controversy. So, and this is one of the.
You know, I kind of know his face though.
Gotcha. Yeah, you might have seen him on other streams and stuff. But he actually stepped down just to in support of Blitzchung. So, Andy writes, after a tumultuous week that saw widespread fan outrage, Blizzard president J. Allen Brack has issued a statement explaining the company's perspective on the suspension of Hearthstone Grandmaster Blitzchung Nguai, and admitted that it reacted too quickly in imposing his punishment. Our esports programs are an expression of our vision and our values. Esports exist to create opportunities for players from around the world, from different cultures and from different backgrounds, to come together to compete and share their passion for gaming, Brack wrote. It is extremely important to us to protect these channels and the purpose they serve to bring the world together through epic entertainment, celebrate our players, and build diverse and inclusive communities. Brack emphasized that the views expressed by Blitzchung, Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Age, were not a factor in determining his punishment, and that our relationships in China had no influence on our decision. So to pull out of that, that seems weird because that's 100% why they would be punishing him in the first place, right?
So you need to, and you said you haven't seen it. You need to pull up the, and it's on IGN because they had their own, and I appreciate that they brought out their own independent translator to translate it. So Blizzard response Chinese version of Twitter.
I see.
And it's on IGN. I really appreciate they had their own translator because there's a certain wordage at the end that could come across as a bit more, there it is. So
interesting.
So, but that's not the if you can find the IGN version.
Yeah,
because they say one thing in the regular translator version as China, which you can certainly interpret it as China, but the word is not specifically China, and that does affect it a little bit. Okay, so this is essentially the Chinese version of Twitter.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it's not all public access kind of thing.
So here's where they say the exact opposite.
So this is Matt Kim of IGN. Blizzard/NetEase Chinese social media account takes China's side.
And to be fair, this is not Blizzard account. This is their Overwatch account. But
Gotcha.
Fucking still.
So they go on to write, we express our strong indignation or resentment and condemnation of the events that occurred in the Hearthstone Asia-Pacific competition last weekend and absolutely oppose the dissemination of personal political ideas during any events or games. The players involved will be banned and the commentators involved will be immediately terminated from any official business. Also, we will protect or safeguard our national dignity or honor. Yeah, it's 100% in the opposite direction.
It's the opposite. Full
so
opposite.
now, is it? This is their viewpoint, so that their citizens see this, and it's just separate from Americans seeing this. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. They want to keep them, under control somewhat.
That's what most of the Chinese people saw.
Gotcha. That's I had no idea that was going on. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, and I think it was almost the same timing. So I remember people saw the post from the president, and it's pretty amazing that they got the president to comment on this one.
Blizzard, yeah,
because it's that big.
Right.
So he did that, and then this came out almost around the same time. So people were doubly pissed.
Gotcha.
Which is fair.
Right. So, and we'll go on to them backtracking their actual hard stance reaction. But how do they come back and get back into a positive limelight with gamers? How do they? Is there a path out of this?
So I can discuss that in a minute.
Gotcha.
Because there something I do want to point out. So they have one of the things they've reversed on this is now Butchug gets half of his winnings. And I do apologize again. This is disrespecting.
It's a term of endearment. You're with them.
This is a bit like saying something. Well, no, I can't compare it to that person. But it's
Gotcha.
This guy isn't the next Rosa Parks. He's not the next the guy
Gandhi?
Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay.
But this is still something that does deserve respect. He even though he
for
probably
sure.
didn't think of it as a big thing, this has turned out to be a big thing.
Right.
And this is
Anytime
meaningful.
you're able to, especially with this issue with these protests with China, anyone who's stepping out is really getting silenced or facing backlash. So
right.
No, I fully support it. But yeah.
So I say it with love.
Yeah. Exactly.
But what was I saying? So they gave him back his winnings, which was interesting because there was a whole nother digital card game that said, "Hey, we'll put you in our new tournament coming up. We'll happily spotlight you, and we will give you the winnings that Blizzard didn't give you.
Whoa,
so
nice.
now Blizzard is actually giving us winnings. It's like, are you still taking are they still giving you the other winnings?
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of winnings.
Interesting. No, that makes sense for another game to just be like, hey, you're a high profile player that will bring eyes. Come to us. Like, we'll pay you. Big
It's
deal.
great. And now people will, like, I remember when the article came out, like, comment sections were just going like, hey, here are alternatives to these. That being said, I fucking wish there were an alternative because I love watching StarCraft. Can we bring back, what's it called? Command and Conquer?
Oh, yeah.
Because they
really
literally
beloved
have
franchise.
no competition. A lot of, like, commenters have talked about Blizzard has no competition in the RTS, the fast action RTS space. Nothing.
I wonder what's the deal with that. Yeah.
It's so niche.
Right.
Even though like esports and watching it is really niche, you're not going to be pulling in GTA 5 money.
Sure.
You're not going to be pulling in Halo money. You're not going to be pulling in that crazy amount of money unless you're StarCraft.
Gotcha.
So there's that. But yeah, so they're bringing him over to that. I think that's really cool. But what were you saying with how do you bring it back?
Or, how do you become more positive in gamers' minds, and can you shake out of this or kind of get back on a path that will gain the trust back of players and get back in positive grace with them?
So this has been one of the scary things. Did you? I don't know if you read the article with the kind of expose on the employees at Blizzard and how they're feeling.
I know there was various protests. There was like a walkout during the week.
Right.
They had covered their like their not their goals, but like their kind of like motives that they had. On Blizzard headquarters where they had like
it's like think globally.
There you go.
Something or other.
They had covered it with cardboard or whatever just to say, hey, like this is
Right,
not actually
right.
happening.
So there was an article that was kind of reading some anonymous employees, kind of doing interviews with them, and some of the things they've kind of brought up is like they are disgusted. But it's like, what do you fucking do? Because this, like, Blizzard is the fucking job to have. There's nothing cushier. Like, you get to do what you want on a daily basis. You are working with the most talented people on planet Earth. You love what you do, and you get to do it every day. These people are not, to my knowledge, not burnt out like a lot of other studios. They're treated very well, paid well.
I see.
And this shit happens.
Right.
And you feel guilty going to work, and that sucks because these people didn't do it.
Yeah, they have no influence on the whatever official stance the corporation is going to do with this guy. Like they have no
right, but that's still your company.
Yeah,
that's still where you work, and that's like the ickiest feeling. And they mentioned that they keeps telling the employees that the CEO is going to make an official statement. He's going to make a video statement, and it's been coming. It's been coming. It was supposed to have been out last week. It was supposed to be out soon, and it's not coming out. And they literally don't know what to do.
Yeah,
and that's terrifying.
Yeah, and I imagine they can't also make a statement on Twitter or show their solidarity with Blitzchung. Like they have to just kind of be on this straight path where they just can't react either way. they
and they're still, they have, to a certain degree, they have to do what the Chinese government wants. And there was I saw big arguments about like, well, like I know Blizzard, I want to say Epic was making a big stance on it. And I know certain people were like, well, you guys are owned by Tencent. And other people were arguing with like, well, they're only 40% owned by Tencent.
Gotcha.
So the most Tencent can do is sell their stock and fuck off.
Gotcha.
I didn't realize that it's still 60% owned by the lead guy there at Epic. That's insane.
That seems,
for a publicly traded company.
Yeah, I don't think that's the norm at all.
It's 60% one guy and the rest is a Chinese company. And that's why, that's part of what got PUBG off their ass. Because PUBG is largely owned by Tencent.
Yeah.
And Epic is a decent chunk owned by Tencent. So PUBG is trying to sue Epic, and Tencent said, "You fucking what? We make money. Don't stop them from making money, you assholes. We own you."
If you sue them, it's like, do we give money to ourselves? What do we do in that situation? Because we partly own that company.
It was clearly like, this is our new cash cow now, and you're gonna fuck that up?
Right?
No, you're not gonna.
Yeah, you're right, because they did drop all that stuff. Yeah, yeah, that's where it gets weird, because a lot of these companies at the very least want to do business with China, so they have to deal with whatever issues are going on, or they're partly owned by them in the first place.
Yeah. So the other thing, unique perspective I've seen from the indie side, and I'll cover this very quick. But even to indies, Chinese money is super fucking important.
I imagine.
And part of that reason is because of review bombing. So there was a guy who shall remain nameless, but he made a multiplayer game, and it became very popular with like a Chinese YouTuber, and a lot of his Chinese fans wanted to play. So what did they do? Because it was in English only.
Yeah.
So they review bombed his game. They just dug it into a fucking hole that cannot be dug out.
Because there wasn't...
there was no Chinese translation.
Gotcha.
Until he put that back out and it climbed out. And then he made thousands upon thousands of dollars. But they can still destroy your game.
I imagine, yeah.
If it's not in Chinese.
Gotcha.
And that's fucking rough.
Yeah.
That's not a AAA company. This is this was one dude.
Gotcha.
Destroyed. And that's crazy. Then they like made him bajillions of dollars. Like
right.
he's set now till he can finish his next game and then his next game. Like that's awesome. But fuck, dude.
Yeah.
This affects everyone. Like you can't mistake it. It's not just these guys that are largely owned by Chinese companies.
So is it almost like you have to do business, or you just can't? It's silly to try and avoid the fact that they're this huge, option out there.
It's a fucked up pretzel.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing not icky about it. And that's a terrible thing alone, just like getting review bombed.
Right.
Having your shit that like people really enjoy just be destroyed because you're not supporting, how do you do that? Do you just make it available in certain regions? Well, they can use an ISP and hop over to that region and still destroy stuff.
Now there's companies that will localize stuff for you, but that does cost money.
That's what you had to do. You had to hire and that if you're not set up to localize, it's gonna fuck everything up. That's gonna be really hard to do, which he wasn't, and he had to pour tons of time and effort into doing that. And then again, he made a bunch of money. So I don't know. It's all icky. There's no un-icky.
That's the vibe I get. Yeah.
But people make it look like it's just a AAA problem. It's not.
Gotcha. Interesting. Well, Gavin, you're right. They kind of reduced the penalty, so it's I don't want to say it's 6-month ban that he's going to face, the Blitzchung, and he's getting half of his earnings back, apparently. So yeah, now he actually has a response. So this is through also PC Gamer. Jody McGregor writes, Blitzchung Ngwai, the Hearthstone Grandmaster who was suspended by Blizzard. He has a statement in which Blizzard. After Blizzard walked their suspension back from a year to 6 months and reinstated his winnings. First of all, he wrote, I'm grateful for Blizzard reconsidering their position about my ban. Earlier this week, I told media that I knew I might have penalty or consequence for my act. Because I understand that my act could take the conversation away from the purpose of the event, in the future, I will be more careful on that and express my opinions or show my support to Hong Kong on my personal platforms. Blitzchung went on to express gratitude that his winnings were being restored, explaining that people from Blizzard had explained this to me through a phone call, and I really appreciate that, and I accept their decision on this part. Regarding the reduction of his suspension, he's grateful. For that too, he noted, 6 months is still quite a lot to me, and added, I wish Blizzard can reconsider about their penalty on the two casters involved.
Which they did reconsider as well.
Gotcha. And I guess he's getting full earnings. For some reason, I was thinking half the earnings back, but
yeah. I see, here's the thing, though. Are they going to take his, if he's very free Hong Kong on Twitter?
Yeah.
Can they back all the way down? I bet not.
Maybe they can strike a deal where as long as you just keep it off of the streams and they can still play ball with China and then you're doing your own, personal stance on other platforms, then it's fine.
I've seen a lot of people, I feel like I've seen people try and toe this line before and it just not works.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to separate those things.
You gotta back them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the future holds for this. I feel like Blizzard's in this huge rut now with this whole debacle. So how do they come back from that? How do they turn things around? I'm not sure because they still want to do business with China. So they're not going to really change, any stance they would have, or maybe they won't be as hard-nosed when it comes to somebody else being. But I think now this is going to trigger many more people being public in support of Hong Kong on these live streams. So this is going to be the first guy. He just started it.
Well, and the other thing it's done too is people have turned Mei into an icon.
Right. And that's a Overwatch character?
Yes. And people are also trying to do it with Mickey.
With Mickey?
Yeah. Because
Disney does deals.
Disney has been doing stuff. One of the things people pointed out that I guess maybe I didn't think about, and it's still maybe overthinking it, but so in what is it?
Thinking of a country or company?
Doctor Strange. He's supposed to be trained by like Shaolin monks.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And so they changed it out to white lady that knows kung fu.
Yeah.
And I think it was just generic monks.
Gotcha.
So they destroyed a little bit of like culture, and it was very important.
Is that to play ball with China? So
that was to play ball with China, apparently. Again, that may be drinking a little bit of Kool-Aid, but that doesn't sound too much Kool-Aid drinking to me.
No, and it's a change they can make to make sure that they make more money over there. Because you can't not release there, right?
Right. And as of, within Doctor Strange range, it seemed like the Marvel Universe hadn't done too much whitewashing. And considering that character was very important, that be a Asian, Shaolin monk character,
right.
People were upset with that one.
Yeah, I do remember.
And if this is why, then that's also fucked up.
Yeah.
So they've definitely done some stuff in that. Yeah.
With bending over for China.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
No, that's tough. Yeah. I was reminded that BlizzCon is the next public event that they have for the Blizzard host, and this is November 1st. So I imagine we're going to see much more stuff with just in support of Hong Kong and protesting tied to BlizzCon. So I imagine this is not going to end here for sure. So how do they navigate that live event too? Like, how do they just be like, everything's fine, it's cool, and then
you know what you do? You do like Nintendo, and you turn off the fucking chat.
Gotcha.
You disable that chat.
And you pre-record everything, and
I mean, you might as well. But no, it's gonna be interesting because people are gonna put signs up.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a big part of the esports culture. You put up the signs.
Yeah, you can't not have an audience too. So okay, good luck with that.
Right, and that's. Yeah, it's huge, and people invest into these stadiums and all these things.
Right.
It's crazy. So how do you navigate? I don't know. That's a whole mess, and it's to see it happen to one of the most prestigious companies in gaming that now has to navigate out of it. This is nuts.
Right. I mean, it's a shitstorm, but it's also they put themselves there. But I would hope there's a scenario where they can turn things around. But I think it means doing less business with China, or at least structuring your business where you can still honor like American values like democracy, like freedom. I don't think
that's the thing with China, though. There's no like halfway button. There's no dimmer switch. You're either doing it or you're out.
Yeah.
So I also felt awkward too the other because after this I was watching StarCraft because I can't get enough. And it was they were doing regional, so they did like I think it was like England, and they had American, and one of the ones I was watching had Hong Kong versus China, and I'm like, well, this is awkward. And then China fucking decimated Hong Kong.
Oh.
Like it was like watching a baby try and play with like some grandmaster champion, and like full disrespect to the people that lost, because they it wasn't even close.
Really?
It was like, I want to say it was 3-0 every game.
Gotcha.
So it was like, oh God.
Just
but again, like that's just, that's somebody that lives in China doing their damnedest versus somebody that lives in Hong Kong. There's nothing political uninherently about that, but due to the situation.
They're extra emotional now, and so they're using this as these platforms to battle, and represent their political views.
Right. Probably not what that was, but although there's the emotional factor of, some players, you see it a lot more with fighting games, play better when they're emotional, when they put their feelings into it, and some players play shittier, which is fantastic.
Gotcha.
When you have somebody who plays shitty when they're emotional, and the other person knows that, and they're trying to get them.
Right,
put them on tilt.
Yeah,
that's what I loved. And by the way, so I know we I've talked about this before with fighting game tournaments. How you get these villains, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I think and you don't necessarily dislike them because they're a villain. You kind of like them being around. They're fun.
Sure.
They make it exciting. And when we watched that UFC fight the other day with over the top Magoo.
Israel Adesanya, the Stylebender guy. Yeah.
So that's how you see it a lot of the times in the fighting game scene, where it's this guy who's not only hard to defeat, but they're cocky as shit about it.
Yeah.
And so that's like, you can kind of see now what I'm talking about, where like if he was in the fighting game scene, he'd be a villain. You're still cheering for him. You're still like, I love me some Filipino champ. I always get the two Filipino something or others. confused. But like, even though they may kind of occupy that space of a lot of people love to hate you, you're still there. Like, yeah, that's my boy. He's gonna be pissing everybody off. Go for it.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah, Gavin. Well, it's I think we solved it. So we
solved it.
We can move on because we fixed it. So they're good.